and welcome to the very first podcast of Genealogy with Valerie. I'm your host, Valerie Hughes. Over the next few months, I'll be posting videos covering the many aspects of genealogy. I hope that you tune in. First of all, let me begin by telling you a little about myself. Of course, my name is Valerie Hughes, and I have been doing genealogy for over 20 years, and I am a professional genealogist. I'm also a conference speaker and an author. I have written 2 books. One is called Genealogy, Your Family History, Doing It Right the First Time, and the other book is Planning Your Genealogy Research Trip, Making the Most of It. I am currently working on my 3rd book, and it should be out soon, and these books are available at Amazon.com. To begin with, you may ask, what is genealogy? To me, genealogy is connecting yourself to those who've come before you. It's that connection between you and your ancestors. There are 2 lines that you can cover in genealogy. First is one that is called the direct line. That would be you, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, and so on and so forth. It goes here to there in one straight direct line, and that's why they call it direct line. The second one is your extended family. That would be something like you, your parents' siblings, and then their family. And then it'd be your grandparents' siblings, and then their family. And as you can see, that your tree would grow really fast. But even with the direct line, your tree would grow really fast, because if you think about it, first there's you, then there's your parents, and then you add your grandparents, that's 4 more. You add those grandparents, that's 8 more, and you add those grandparents, there's 16 more, and before you know it, you have a pretty large tree. You have to decide which you want to start with and which is easiest for you. And our next podcast will probably cover that. I'd like for you to tune in and let's explore that together. The next thing is, why do people do genealogy? Right now it's very, very popular, and what is the pull to that? I believe it's because we all want to know where we came from and who we are. For some people, it's a religious reason. For others, it's just curiosity. And for most people, though, I believe it's because they really, really want to know who they are and where they came from and have a connection to their past. That is where I'm coming from. I was born in Missouri, and at the age of 11 months old, my parents moved to Arizona. Now, growing up in Arizona, I had met a few family members when they came to visit, but I really didn't have much contact with them. And my parents really never spoke about their family or their past. My mother told a few stories once in a while, but really not very much at all. When I was 12 years old, however, we moved back to Missouri. But again, I was 12 years old, and there aren't too many 12-year-old kids who are interested in genealogy or their family history or wanting to hear all the great stories that the elder people might have to tell them. So I never asked. I never inquired. And I never was able to connect who I was to these people. At the age of 14, we moved from Missouri to California. Again, no contact with the relatives. And then my father passed away, and we moved back to Arizona, and life went on. After my mother passed away, however, I started thinking about, who am I and where do I fit in? Not knowing much about the family, I contacted an aunt, and I asked her if she could give me any kind of information, and she did. She gave me a small list of her siblings' names and her parents' names and their parents' names. At least what she thought was their parents' names. And that was it. So I got online and started doing the research, and I was hooked. As soon as I found that first golden nugget of information pertaining to my grandparents, I was hooked. I've always been a lover of mysteries and detectives, novels, and those type of programs. And so this was like a mystery to me, and it was one that I was determined to solve. And I began digging. And this was before there was the internet when I first started. So I had to do a lot of finagling at the library and phone calls and writing letters. Nowadays, you just get online and a tremendous amount of information is there. However, no matter how wonderful the internet is and how much information is available, there are tons more that are not going to be put on the internet. They're being held in small conservatories, repositories all over the country, and unfortunately you'd have to contact these people or go and do your own research. But it is a rewarding experience to find that connection between you and your ancestors. So I'm going to conclude this now, and I will be back again soon, and we'll continue with another subject. I hope to hear from you. I'm going to put up my email address at the end of this podcast. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, whatever it is, I would really love to hear from you. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.